everyone, welcome to Juniper Overland's YouTube channel. My name is Dylan. I am here with Sam from Stay the Trail. We're here at 14er Fest. This is an awesome celebration of all things Colorado outdoors. Hike, bike, fish even, and obviously 4x4 for us as well. So we love being out here in Buena Vista. It is a great, great town. What is sort of the reason why you guys decided to come here as well? I know you've been a sponsor for a while as well, so you've been here for quite a few years. So yeah, what makes this such a unique event for you?
Yeah, the 14er Fest is great. So, you know, we focus on keeping our motorized trails open through education and educating people where they are. So this is a great example of that. So people are here, like you said, from all different, types of recreation. And this is really unique for us because the majority of the people that we're talking to are non-motorized users.
Yeah.
So, or they kind of consider themselves non-motorized users when in fact they really are. Yeah. So what we're doing is talking to them about local areas. We're giving them maps, information, really with the goal of, hey, Colorado has designated routes that we need to stay on the trail. And if we do that, these little simple things that we can do responsibly, we can keep these trails open so that we can keep coming out for generations and enjoying areas like Buena Vista, events like 14er Fest and stuff like that. So we really come out, we always do, we work on a trail run. We usually do some kind of volunteer stewardship project where, for example, we just went up to 4 Mile and we cleared up a bunch of trash, cleaned up some stuff. We slashed an illegal trail. So that kind of stuff that keeps trails open, keeps them healthy, and keeps them, sustainable. So like I said, we can keep coming doing it.
I mean, yeah, we're all land stewards. Doesn't matter whether you're hike or bike. You're probably going down a Forest Service road to get there.
Exactly.
And if we don't take responsibility of caring for it, educating others, people about it as well too, then we're going to lose all that access.
Absolutely.
And it's only going to hurt everybody. So no, we're huge appreciators of what Sam and Stay the Trail do. Like, these guys do amazing work. Speaking of responsible overlanding, let's jump on into it. So the topic of this video obviously is some of the do's and don'ts of overlanding. What is kind of the #1 rule for responsible overlanding in OHV that you wish everyone followed?
There's one thing, and I see it through all types of users, all types of machines, and all types of user groups, is what happens is, you see a rock pile or like a puddle, and people just naturally want to go around it. So if you see that puddle, go through it, straight through it, nice and slow. Those rock obstacles, go over them, don't go around them. So that's causing trail widening. It's causing resource damage off the trail. So that's all it is. And Colorado, you're probably not going to get stuck all hard rock bottom, just nice through it. So stuff like that, just being, hey, I got to stay on the trail. I can get dirty. We build these sweet rigs and do all this fun stuff to get dirty. So, getting them dirty is fine. So that's a big one. The other one is just be kind of aware of where you're camping. So we've got alpine tundra in Colorado. So basically, once you get above timberline, it's a super fragile ecosystem. You shouldn't even really walk on it, let alone drive or camp on it.
Yeah.
The other thing to consider when you're camping is how close you are to the water. Usually about 200 feet is a rule. So things like that, just some common sense kind of general things that I think people just kind of overlook. So
yeah. You brought up a good point. Alpine tundra is such a fragile ecosystem. Like, that is, one track goes over it, and it can take years and years before that gets anywhere near where it was before. So yeah, we have a beautiful state. Let's keep it that way. Absolutely. What are some of the common mistakes that you're seeing people make, and how can they avoid them?
A lot of things. I think we see a lot of people not kind of pre-planning their trips. So we always like to say no before you go.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we'll just get to an area and not know anywhere, not know what the trails are like, not even have an accurate map or anything like that. So some pre-planning, and just talking to other people. I mean, there's a ton of groups, ton of great businesses that do it right, and that's what we want. And you can jump in with a group or a club. We really encourage a lot of adopted trails. So we'll work with the Forest Service, so BLM and a group, and then kind of we're the middleman. We put them together and get a trail adopted. So things like that are really, really easy.
Absolutely. This seems kind of like a unique question for a lot of people. It's something that they don't think about, but why is it important to know the width of your overall vehicle when you're off-roading?
Sure. So in Colorado, we have designated trails, and they're different widths. So for example, it's basically 3. We've got single track for dirt bikes only, then we've got 50 inches, that's like your ATV dirt bike, and then we've got our full-size trail. So that's including all the full-size 4x4s and then most side-by-sides as well. So all that information is really good. What you don't want to do is be a full-size vehicle on a 50-inch trail or a single track, because that's fuel to get trails closed.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's really, a lot of times we work hard with the Forest Service and BLM, and we do a lot of signage and maintenance to keep those signs up that say, hey, you can have this type of vehicle on this trail, or there's like a pinch gate. But sometimes those don't exist, or unfortunately they get vandalized, they get ripped out, and then you don't know, and you're accidentally on a 50-inch trail, and that's really bad. So that kind of stuff.
No, I completely get that. What should people do when they encounter obstacles on a trail? Obviously, there's a lot of rocks, there's some chunk, there's different sorts of types of terrain that you can get around here in Colorado.
So, you know, first thing we're going to do is we're going to plan on going over it no matter what it is, all right? We're not going to bypass it unless there's an official bypass. So, you know, depending on your skill level, confidence level, get out, look at it, walk it. You know, there's a good rule. You can put your hands out, and that's almost as wide as your tires. And you can kind of do like this and be like, yep, right tire's here, left tire's here, and kind of plan it out. Use a spotter, you know, that kind of thing. Just make sure that you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable and you don't want to do it, there's no shame in turning around.
Totally.
So,
and you brought up a good point, official bypass. How do you know if something is an official bypass or something that people have just made on their own?
So a lot of times it'll be on the map, or it'll be very clearly marked with an actual sign that says bypass or something like that. Poughkeepsie Gulch in the Alpine Loop is a good example. Very hard obstacle, but you can drive right around it. So there's areas like that. So some areas there's bypasses provided, and some it's just a hard trail and you gotta go for it. So
yeah, absolutely. How can overlanders be more mindful of noise pollution while they're out on public lands?
You know, overlanders are pretty good in general.
Yeah.
The big thing, and I don't really see it too often, but we have seen this with other groups, is stereos.
Yeah.
You know, if you're camping, you know, you can have your music on, jamming, but, you know, be, you know, aware of other people in the area, stuff like that. So really that's a small one, but that is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just entirely all land use and the stewardship of it, but how do we become responsible and courteous users of the land as well, too,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
What are some safety and unique tips for interacting with our non-motorized users that are out there, especially like horses, hikers, bikers?
Great question. So a lot of times, all of our trails that are motorized, the non-motorized, everybody's allowed to use it. So you're going to encounter hikers, mountain bike, horseback.
Yeah.
So the big one with horseback is probably the biggest one. Is pull over, stop your, you know, turn it off, stop, and then ask the rider of the animal, be like, hey, can I pass? Or they'll instruct you on some high. Always also keep in mind that if a horse gets spooked, it's going to run uphill. So try to be on the downhill side of that.
Yeah.
So things like that you can be aware. You know, stop and be like, hey, are you guys good? Do you need any water? If they're hiking or something like that. Sometimes you'll run into a mountain biker with a, you know, broken bike. You can offer to, hey, let me throw this thing in the back of the truck or whatever, and we'll get you down, or offer help, be polite, that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. No, absolutely. Good point. So what are some key environmental concerns that people should be thinking about, especially when they're using some of the more sensitive areas like the, you know, alpine tundra, as you mentioned, and wetlands?
Yep. So we do have some fragile ecosystems in Colorado. So the alpine tundra is one of them. On the western slope, we actually do have crypto, just like they do in Moab. So that's something to be cognizant of.
Yeah.
And then one of the big things too is like winter wheeling. So be careful when you're winter wheeling. Snow bashing's great, but you got to do it the right way. You know, you want to be on the trail. And a lot of times we have seasonal gates. So there's a closure for a reason. Normally it's for like animal calving, like elk and moose, stuff like that. So just being aware of like the current conditions, staying on the trail, keeping an eye out for those sensitive ecosystems, planning ahead, and then of course just staying on the trail.
Yeah, stay on trail.
It's not hard. So.
It really is not.
And one other thing I would like to touch base on.
Please.
We're very, you know, cognizant about staying on the trail, but there are times that you can go off the trail. So for example, you could park off the trail. You could let somebody by. That's not considered going off trail if you're parking or something like that. So a lot of times we'll see that where we'll put up a post picture or something like that. Someone's like, oh, he's off trail. We're like, no, he's just parked to let the other vehicles by. So there are some cases where it is okay, but we're not talking about driving across the meadow or something like that. We're just talking about letting somebody over, being a courteous user, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. I mean, in a lot of these trails in Colorado, there are pullouts that you can get to, right? And to kind of speak towards that, let's say you do approach someone opposite directions. What is proper trail etiquette?
Sure.
Downhill, uphill, who goes, who
this
stays?
is a very great question, and it's a hot one too. So
I know.
Hand signals are universal. So, you know, you see it a lot with dirt bikes, ATVs, and the side-by-sides, but us full-size should be doing it too. So what the hand signals are is they just indicate how many people are in your group behind you. So for example, if there's 4 rigs coming up, I'm the first one, I'm gonna put up a 3. That indicates that there's 3 rigs behind me. They'll do 2, 1, and then a closed fist is 0. So that's really what everybody should be doing, but we're seeing it about 50% know it. So a lot of times you'll, you know, give them 2 and they're like, peace, or like, yeah, brother,
what's up?
So, you know, just do it. And, you know, there's no harm in being like, hey, explaining it to somebody. It's like, hey, by the way, that was a 3 because there's 3 rigs behind me, and that's what that means.
Yeah, you could totally be the first time someone's ever heard about that.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
goes a long way to just be common, courteous, and let people know, yeah, this is a standard.
Yeah.
This is a trail standard.
it's all about education, and that's what we do here at Stay the Trail, is educate people about those things that they just don't know. And a lot of people don't realize they're doing something bad or wrong, and a quick conversation from anyone can change the way that they do it, and they do it better that way.
100%. 100%. What does things like airing down your tire do, other than just increasing ride quality and making it a lot cushier? How does that actually play a part in keeping trails not destroyed and intact?
Great question. So think about it this way. You got this big old vehicle, right? And it weighs, it's heavy. So, and you think if you're aired up, you got a footprint on your tire that's about maybe like this. You air down and your footprint's bigger, so therefore you're dispersing the weight of your vehicle over a wider area, causing less resource damage, causing less impact.
Yep.
So it's overall better for the environment. And, you know, there's the other benefits that we all like ride quality, traction, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, traction is exactly why that works so well and why it keeps a trail in good condition. You're not now spinning out, chucking rocks, digging ruts.
Exactly. The last thing you want to do is spin a tire on a rock or dig a hole. You know, you've all seen it where there's an obstacle and it continues to get harder and harder because people are spinning and digging out, and pretty soon you got a big old hole right before the obstacle.
Absolutely.
And that becomes an issue. So
the weather can play a part with that too. I mean, you know, if it's a muddy, wet tire, wet trail, then you can also dig a much more significant rut as well by spinning out. Like, you know, it's fun to go mudding and everything like that, but that does ultimately change the trail permanently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a good rule of thumb is 3 tries. So give it 3 tries. If you can't do it, turn around or, you know, do something else. So, and then you got to think again, if there's people behind you, that kind of thing, just be respectful. Try not to spin tires. Sometimes it's not, you know, you do spin a little bit, but we don't want to. What we see, what we don't like is somebody just get into an obstacle and just hammer down and, you know, just shoot it. And that's really not the best thing to do. So
yeah, absolutely. And even lockers and things like that can go a long way to ensure that you do get proper traction being put down towards the wheels. And again, traction is one of the best ways to keep a trail in its current condition as you go up it. Yeah, absolutely. So what you know, we've covered kind of a lot of topics here. What is something that we haven't necessarily covered here that you think is like a really important pillar of what Stay the Trail preaches?
You know, what we're all about is keeping trails open for the long term, for the next generation, and then including for us, you know, like that. So just use some common sense, do a little bit of homework, know before you go, and plan it out. We also really encourage groups to get involved, adopt a trail, get involved with different clubs, the Forest Service, BLM, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Well, if people are in Colorado, how can they participate with Stay the Trail? And then if they're maybe not in the state, what are some ways that they can help you guys do what you do?
Absolutely. So check out the website. We put a lot of work into the website. We want to be kind of the go-to for, especially for new users that are coming into the state or visiting, that kind of thing. So, you know, we talk about we've got all the maps, we've got all the rules laid out. There's not a lot of rules and they're pretty simple. So, but it's just about being familiar with them before you go out. Sure. So that when you're out there, like we were talking about, going over that obstacle and not around it, that's a big key, something like that. So website's great. We do a lot on social media as well. Check us out that way. So.
And you guys are out there on trail doing education at awesome events like this, educating people that may have never really even known that you guys are an organization, what you stand for, some of those pillars of really what you teach.
Exactly.
And I know you're the last dude that's going to ask for it, but donate to these guys. I mean, that is one of the best ways that you can help these guys do what they do if you are not local or you don't have the means or the ability to participate in person, doing like a trail cleanup or something like that, sponsoring a trail. But these guys absolutely use and need the money, and it allows them to go to events like this, educate more people, be out there on trail, and really bring common or just courteous land stewardship to people that have never maybe thought of those things before. So highly suggest go to staythetrail.org, donate to them, participate in a cleanup, get yourself involved, and it's gonna keep our trails open. Like that is if we want to be able to continue to use these trails for years and years to come, we have to put in our time and energy.
We gotta treat them right. We gotta respect them. We gotta pay attention and be just courteous users too. That's a big one.
100%. Yeah. Thanks again, Sam. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, man. Absolutely. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments what is a question that we didn't cover and what you want an answer for. We'll try our best to answer those for you. But again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.